Have you ever had this happen to you at first? Everything was magical in your relationship, but suddenly, without either of you saying anything out loud, the relationship turns into something like an office? You with your mental list of everything that's missing in that relationship, and the other person with their mental list of what you do wrong. And one day you're living together, but feeling very lonely. Most people don't fall out of love because they don't want to, or because of a lack of love. They fall out of love because of something quieter, more everyday. Something that starts as, how nice that they take care of me, and ends as, why do I feel so empty if I have someone by my side? Today, I'm going to tell you the best kept secret of beautiful and lasting love. And it's not just communication, it's not compatibility, it's not finding the right person. It's something nobody wants to accept because it's not romantic, but it's what separates a relationship that might last just a few weeks or months from one that becomes a home. And at the end of this episode, I'm going to give you a little exercise that you can use today to change the pattern that's dimming your love. Even if your partner isn't ready. If this is your first time here, my name is Johnny Abram. I'm a best-selling author, international speaker, and emotional wellness educator. I've spent years helping people in real relationships. Not the perfect ones we want to show on Instagram and social media, but the real ones, the ones that sometimes hurt too. And by observing those relationships, seeing what works and what doesn't. And there's something I've heard thousands of times from my students, both women and men, in different words. They tell me something like, Johnny, it's just that I love or I want to love, but it hurts or I get lost. And I do make an effort, but that effort just isn't enough for me. And over time, I understood something. Many relationships don't end or break up because of a lack of love. They break up because there's a lack of a self that can stand on its own. And so, with personal work, eventually, you can work as a team. There are people who get married in love and years later look at each other and feel like complete strangers. And when you ask them what happened, the answer always sounds the same. It's just not like it used to be. It got cold, the spark went out, the love faded, we fell out of love. But I'm going to translate that into real emotional language for you. They didn't fall out of love, they got exhausted, they got tired of a dynamic where each one expected the other to make them feel whole, calm them, validate them, and rescue them. Because a lot of people get into a relationship looking for love, but without realizing it, they're actually looking for anesthesia. Anesthesia for the loneliness, anesthesia for the emptiness, anesthesia for that feeling of I'm not enough. At first it works, of course, because the other person gives you attention, novelty, there's chemistry. They're present, and you feel that finally someone sees you, that finally someone chooses you. But then life happens, the routine, the bills, the responsibilities, the fears, the kids, the stress. And your partner can no longer hold that role of emotional medicine or rescuer. And that's where the tragedy begins. When one says, I feel bad, and the other, instead of hearing, I feel bad, hears, it's your fault that I feel bad. There's a contract that nobody signs when they get married, live together, or are in a relationship, but millions of relationships live by it every day. What is that contract? It's the famous, I'm going to give you my love, but you're going to make me feel worthy. Or I'm going to take care of you, but you're not going to abandon me. Or I'm going to do everything for you, but you have to make me feel like you need me. Or I give you my whole life, but you complete me. None of this is said consciously. And when you see it in practice, it seems romantic, but it's slow poison. Because that's not beautiful, mature love. That's emotional dependency disguised as romance. And dependence at first feels like connection, but over time it feels more like a prison. I want to ask you, do you recognize any of those invisible contracts in your relationship? What are you giving, expecting something in return? Because maybe you're the one providing, but you're expecting the person you say you care for by providing to be submissive and super grateful to you and to make you feel like you're the most important person in the world. Or maybe you're taking care of the home, but you don't see it as your part of the team. Instead, you see it as something you do to sacrifice yourself and then create drama and play the victim about everything you have to carry and hold up so that the other person values you. Does this make sense?
Let's think about two people. Let's think about Leonardo and Maria. Leonardo is 37 years old and Maria is 32.
They met and obviously fell in love. The chemistry exploded and there was a lot of intensity. During the first dates and the early stages, there were long messages until dawn, romantic calls, messages and words saying, "I've never felt like this before." And when they got married, everything seemed perfect. But 2 years later, the passion faded. Leonardo said, "I don't feel the same anymore. I think I made a mistake. I think I chose wrong." And Maria, for her part, said, "I give everything. It's never enough. I'm getting tired." Most people would have said they weren't compatible, that love was over, that they chose wrong, but that misses the real problem. And the real problem is that they were trapped in a system. Leonardo grew up believing that his good feelings came from a woman's love, as if love were a portable charger. I mean, if she does something, or says something, or she sees me, or listens to me, or loves me, then I recharge my battery, because I feel like I matter, because I feel like it's worth it, because I feel like everything makes sense. If she chooses me, I exist. Do you understand that? Now, Maria grew up learning to be a caretaker. She became an expert at reading other people's emotions, at guessing, at supporting, at detecting every tone, at taking responsibility for everyone's emotional atmosphere, at maintaining harmony. And in that way, she learned to ignore herself. Because at home, she was taught that what matters is that others are okay. And that can be something as simple as teaching Maria, "Hey, take care of your siblings. Spend all day looking after your siblings," with this happening over and over again. So that emotional burden, along with many other examples that could happen, but just to illustrate, makes Maria grow up like that.
Looking out for everyone, taking care of everyone, and forgetting about herself. So, what happens when Leonardo and Maria meet? Well, a perfect match is triggered, but in a chaotic way.
A traumatic match, a match between wounds. Complementary opposites who serve as mirrors and teachers for each other. And in this way, they help each other find balance.
Leonardo felt loved because Maria took care of him.
And Maria felt valuable because Leonardo needed her. And at first, that felt romantic. It seemed like passion. But it was neither romance nor passion. It was relief for the emotional system. The relief of "I'm not alone anymore. I finally matter to someone." But this is where everything breaks down. The problem is very simple. No one can satisfy all your internal needs. That's why Maria couldn't be the eternal source of Leonardo's self-esteem. And so when Maria couldn't fulfill him or didn't numb him enough because she's a human being, well, Leonardo would get frustrated, he would get depressed. And in his mind, the verdict was, if you, Maria, love me, I wouldn't feel this way. So when Maria sees Leonardo feeling bad, obviously she blames herself, she pushes herself, she overexerts herself, because she learned that she had to take care of him and that he depended on her just like her little siblings did. And so inside, she kept bottling things up, but she also accumulated resentment because she says, "I do everything for you, I forget about myself. And you don't even appreciate it, you don't even value it." So anger, guilt, and misery obviously don't create passion. What do they create? They create wear and tear, they create distance, they create a relationship where one chases and the other defends themselves. And it's not that love dies there, because love doesn't die. Love is the most important force in the world. But yes, it does get pushed aside, it gets covered up, and what replaces it or disguises it is the noise. It's the emotional scorekeeping, the finger pointing, the conflict.
And this is a dynamic that kills any possible passion, romantic relationship, emotional connection, sense of teamwork. Which one?
The father-daughter or mother-son dynamic. This is one of the strongest revelations because many couples stop being lovers and become something else. A father and a daughter, or a mother and a son, or a boss and an employee, or a therapist and a patient. Think about it. Why does this happen? Because one takes the position of the one who needs and the other of the one who supports.
In other words, one puts themselves below and the other puts themselves above when they should be on the same level. So one complains and the other sacrifices themselves, believing they have to take care of and rescue the other.
And then, obviously, the bed gets cold and the heart gets cold.
Not because of a lack of desire, but because that desire needs to be nurtured by two adults. By two adults who admire each other, who connect emotionally, who like each other.
Because I've never seen a son want to feel desire for his mom or passion for his mom, nor a daughter for her dad. Right or not? No. There's no way that a caregiver and a wounded child can nurture desire. And that's exactly what happened to Leonardo and Maria. They hadn't fallen out of love. They had become mother and son, a caregiver with someone in need of rescue and care. The perfect match, but a disastrous outcome, because that perfect match is between wounds, not between awareness, self-love, and fulfilled people. I want to ask you, you listening to me, in your relationship, are you the one taking care or the one asking? Are you the one who carries everything or the one who demands everything? In your relationship, are there two adults or is there a parent-child dynamic? Think about it. Because there's a very important revelation there. When Leonardo and Maria were on the verge of breaking up, I told them something very important when they came to me. According to them, it changed everything. I told them the two of you won't be able to feel like you're in love again and truly love each other until each of you falls in love with yourselves and loves themselves first, because everything else will be a reflection of that. And I want you to hear that without romanticizing it or making it cheesy. It's not just love yourself and that's it.
Stand in front of the mirror and make affirmations. Until you stop abandoning yourself internally,
you're going to use your partner as a crutch.
And a relationship based on crutches will eventually fall apart. And until you know how to give yourself everything you need, you will long for your partner to give you everything you need. But that's humanly impossible. Because sometimes you can't even handle yourself and you want someone else to rescue you because what your partner gives you soothes you for a while. But what you don't give yourself will always haunt you. Now,
I want you to listen to this very carefully, and I want you to observe yourself honestly.
These are going to be signs of self-abandonment that you don't see, and it can be very revealing and very transformative if you notice it, because from there we can change. Self-abandonment is when you betray yourself out of fear. It's when you say you're fine when you're really not fine, or it's when you stay quiet to avoid conflict. But inside you shut down, and on top of that you don't resolve any of your needs or anything in the relationship. It's when you give expecting to get something back right away. And when you don't get it back immediately, it hurts you twice as much. It's when you tolerate things that break you because you don't want to be alone.
Or the other way around, you attack, control, demand because you're terrified of feeling small.
In both cases, there's a root cause. And it's that you're not there for yourself. And when you're not connected to yourself or giving yourself what you need,
you look for someone else to be there for you, to give to you. And this metaphor is going to make things much clearer for you.
Imagine that each person is a glass. Think of two glasses. In a relationship, there are people who enter that relationship saying, I am an empty glass. Fill me up. And so at first the other person says, yes, I'll fill you up. Look how romantic it is, how I fill you up. And you say, wow, finally someone fills me up. But the problem is that no one can fill you with water all day long. Eventually, they're going to feel empty. They're going to get tired. They're going to get distracted. They have their own life and they need to fill themselves up too. And then when that other glass can't give you water anymore, you start to feel empty again. And that's when the complaints start. Do you understand? Now imagine another relationship where both glasses learn to connect with their own source. They fill themselves up from within. With self-care, with boundaries, with self-awareness, inner work, and emotional regulation, among other things. So since they're full, they share. They don't beg, and they complement each other. They don't empty themselves. That's beautiful, mature love. That's sharing from abundance and not demanding from lack or emptiness. The difference that saves relationships is this: to blame versus responsible. And here's a confusion that destroys couples. Does your partner influence you? Without a doubt. But your partner is not to blame for what you feel. Your wound is your responsibility. Maybe your partner sets off your gunpowder, but the gunpowder is yours. If you blame your partner for your emptiness, you turn them into your enemy. And then no one opens up, no one trusts, no one desires, and no one feels loved when they feel accused. You have to see your partner as a mirror, and you have to understand that they are your teacher, and that lasting love begins the day you say, what I feel is real, but it's mine, and I can support myself through it. I can work on it, and from there, I'll see later what I do with my relationship. I'll see if I stay here or not, but I don't want to change him. I want to change myself. And from there, make decisions. Let me show you something that makes it concrete. Think of a conflict.
But let's analyze two ways of experiencing it. the wounded version, and the conscious version, the adult version.
Okay, let's think about the wounded version. The classic, you're going out with your buddies again. You don't care about how I feel, right? And then the other person responds,
What a drag. It's always the same with you. Everything bothers you. You want to cage me. I want to be free.
what's the result of that conflict? Emotional distance, resentment, punishment, coldness.
What would the adult version of this be like? Well, someone would say,
Love, can I express something to you? Yes, my love, of course. When you go out with your friends and you don't tell me anything clearly, and I don't know where you're going, and there's no emotional responsibility, a really strong insecurity gets triggered in me. I know that's my issue, and I know you're not doing it out of malice, but it would help me a lot.
If you let me know ahead of time, in case I had plans, or so I don't worry and can sleep peacefully. What do you think, love?
Can you help me with that? Surely the other person, if they're also an adult, will tell you, thank you for telling me like this, my love. Yes, I can do it.
It only takes me 5 seconds to send you a message, and I also need to feel comfortable at my meeting.
Knowing that you trust me and that you're not sending me 800 messages that makes me feel chased. So I think it's a great agreement.
What's the result of that? Both of them reach an agreement. There's closeness, there's teamwork.
and they trust each other. Do you see the difference?
And it's not magic. It's emotional skill. It's putting into practice what you understand because you've already heard it.
About being an adult and putting it into practice. In the wounded state, both are speaking from the scared child.
And then their abandonment wound with the suffocation wound, well, their wounds are a perfect match, and an explosion is guaranteed.
But in the adult version, both take responsibility for what they feel. They express it from there, without blaming the other for what they feel. They ask for help, and from there, they build. As I promised you, here is something practical.
Here goes this quick exercise so that the next time you feel an emotional trigger with your partner because of jealousy, anxiety, anger, insecure attachment, or whatever it is, do this before you speak. Step 1, pause, stop. And don't respond, don't send messages, don't point fingers, don't blame, don't complain. Just take a deep breath. Step 2, name the emotion you're feeling. Say in your mind, I'm feeling lonely.
Sadness, fear, rejection, anger, guilt, because naming it reduces its power. And step 3,
validate your emotion without drama. Say, I'm sensitive, or what I'm feeling makes sense. But don't insult or belittle yourself. And step 4, ask, what do I really need? Ask yourself. It's not about what I want to demand from the other person, but what I truly need. Security, rest, clarity, or a boundary. And once you know that, as step 5, give it to yourself. Give it to yourself first. Take a deep breath first. Drink a glass of water. Go for a 15-minute walk. Write down what you feel. And remember that you can give that to yourself. And once you've done all this and want to talk to your partner, speak from your adult self, not from your wounded self, like you would with a colleague, with a business partner, with someone from work, with someone you respect, because that way you won't throw a tantrum, because our partner triggers other parts of us. So instead of saying you're never there for me, say, lately I feel very lonely, or I miss you and I'm afraid of disconnecting from you. It would help me if we could have dinner together tonight or spend 20 minutes without our phones and just being together. Would that be okay with you? Do you see the difference? Since that doesn't come from the ego, it's not manipulation, and you don't blame the other person. That's emotional responsibility. It's something that comes from your soul because you're connected to yourself and your feelings, and then you can talk about it from your adult self. And you might be wondering, but Johnny, what if my partner doesn't want to work on this? Well, ideally, both of you will talk about it, agree on it, and grow together. But many times when just one person changes, the whole system changes. Because a relationship is like a dance. If you stop chasing, then the other person stops running away. And if you stop accusing, then the other person stops defending themselves or playing the bad guy and can actually listen to you. The relationship isn't always saved. Sometimes it has to end. But what will definitely be saved is your peace, your dignity, and your center. And that's the greatest victory of all. If there's one thing you take away from this video today, let it be this. You're not wrong for wanting love, you're not wrong for needing, you're not wrong for feeling afraid, but your life will change when you understand that your partner didn't come to complete you. They came to be by your side. And you didn't come to beg for love. You came to learn how to love.
Starting by learning to love yourself. You're not difficult, you're not too much, you're not broken. You're simply a wounded person, just like everyone else.
Everyone. But what is wounded can be healed, worked on, and transformed. The relationship doesn't have to be a war.
It can be a home, but for that, you need to become emotionally mature. You need to return to the best version of yourself. You need to get rid of your ego that has protected you for years, but now sabotages you, and reconnect with yourself.
Because when you return to yourself, love will stop being a roller coaster and will become a beautiful path with some rocks and difficulties, but with more scenery than bumps.
Because the best kept secret of lasting love is not finding the perfect person.
It's to stop abandoning yourself. And from there, from that self-love, choose someone who reflects that love and wants to build together. No longer from a place of hurt, no longer from a match between traumas or unmet needs, but from two adults who choose each other with open eyes and open hearts. If you want to go deeper with me to work on your self-love, to heal codependency,
heal wounds, learn to communicate, and build agreements, understand much more about the compatibility between wounds and how to transform it as a team, I can support you. I have full courses on this.
I have one-on-one sessions, I have books, I have a free class that can teach you how to stop suffering for love and start loving yourself. I'll leave the link in the description of this episode and in my Instagram profile. Now tell me in the comments, after what you just heard, what pattern do you notice repeats the most in your relationships? Chasing? Caring too much? Keeping quiet? Demanding? Running away? I'll read your comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next episode. Please remember that lasting love is not found and it doesn't just arrive. It's built.